What's cracking? Yeah, okay. So when we talk about what is cracking, what we're meaning by this is going through and looking or discovering passwords that are either stored on a machine locally, or we may try doing it during transmission. Great example of this is, for example, FTP. Everybody FTP? Yeah, you know me. No, FTP, you can tell I'm on one today, huh? Yeah. So when you log into an FTP server, your username and password, at least the default, is to transmit that in clear text. Well, obviously that's something that maybe I could pick up. So usually people ask me, Dale, is there really a good reason for cracking? Yeah, there is. A lot of times people forget their passwords, especially when it comes to like standalone machines. Now, I would never recommend going through and trying to crack someone's password if you're in a domain environment, because that's the purpose of the feature being able to reset a password. But many times I get neighbors that come over and say, hey, Dale, I forgot my password on my machine, or something's happened where I can't get in. Of course, I usually have a lot of red flags go up in my brain when they say all of a sudden I can't get in. But again, we can go through and reset local account passwords. Or maybe somebody has done something very malicious on our domain environment where they've locked out everyone's passwords as they left the building, some disgruntled IT guy. So there are some good purposes for cracking. In fact, if you do a little YouTubing, there's several different sessions that you can watch from a convention called DEF CON, where they talk about, there's actually a gentleman in, I think it's the University of Florida. They have a division of students that just go through and look at passwords that have been released. They don't go and try to get to the passwords themselves, but they go through and grab ones that people have posted because an attacker may have actually gone out and released it to the general public, and they'll take those hashes and crack them. And what it does for them is they don't actually go to verify it because they get funding from the government as well as several corporate 500 companies to do this type of research. But what they do is they're able to go through and say, hey, these are the type of passwords that people are using, which shows patterns. Now, when it comes to cracking, we also have two different ways that we can do it. We can automate it using some interesting tools, which we'll show you throughout this module. I know, you want to laugh, don't you? You're rubbing your hands. Get ready, because I'm going to let you go. Or we can do this manually. And you may be thinking, manually? How do you do a manual crack? Well, trust me, we'll talk about that. Well, here's the problem that we have when it comes to cracking in passwords. And I'm going to sum it up real easy. It's this. Most users are going to pick something that they know when it comes to creating a password because they have to remember it, right? Well, that's what leads to the flaw of how easy it is to crack people's passwords. Most people will go through and in their password use a name of a family member. They'll use the name of a pet. Their favorite, one of the more popular ones is a sports team. Schools, whether it be college, elementary, high school, comic book hero. Oh, I got to change some passwords. No, but things that they can remember. That's the reason why passwords are easily hacked in many cases, because in order to remember the password, it has to mean something to the user. They will also use things like swear words. Yeah, believe it or not. Locations, like their favorite place to go or cities that they lived in. Religious names are also a very big one. So once they start off with these types of words, then they think they're being tricky and they add numbers to either the ending or the beginning of that password. And those numbers also have to mean something to them. So typically we find that people use their birth year, a graduation year, maybe their anniversary year. I don't use that one because I don't remember when I got married. Uh-oh, don't tell my wife I just said that. Now again, before you start trying to socially engineer me, none of my passwords deal with any of these options, which kind of brings around the next subject, and that is we require people to create difficult passwords, but it's got to be somewhat easy to remember. Otherwise, we get help tickets being opened all day long. I locked myself out. Dale, I don't remember my password. So, in my book, as far as a proper password policy is concerned, we typically rely on 3 different options. And that is 1, something you are, like biometrics, a thumbprint, retinal scan. Yeah, I know. How many of your laptops out there have retinal scans, right? Okay, maybe some of them, but not everybody. In fact, that's one of the exciting things about Windows 10 is that Microsoft is building into it biometrics, and it's not biometrics that can be tricked very easily. If your laptop or tablet has a camera on it, it actually can use your face to log you in. And don't worry, they've done it with a three-dimensional aspect. It's something that they learned from, got to give props to Xbox. Remember the Kinect? Well, the Kinect does a three-dimensional recognition of your face and obviously sometimes your body, which is really scary if it's looking at my body. But what they've learned is that they've created the technology that if you hold up a picture of my face in front of the camera, it sees it as a flat structure and it realizes there's no depth. Yeah, I know. Insert your own joke on that one, right? But there's no depth to the picture. The demo they actually show you is the gentleman holds a picture of himself up in front of his face, and the laptop doesn't log him in. He removes the picture, so his face is exposed, and the laptop immediately logs him in. So that's kind of cool, because it's not like somebody can steal your biometrics. Well, unless they're cutting your finger off, and that's a whole nother issue. There's also something you have, which is another option, which would be something like, we call them cat cards. You know, like how you have to swipe a card. I've been on several military bases where they have these cards that you place inside the keyboard. It's kind of cool. It looks like a credit card type swipe device, but it just holds the card and they put it right in there and that logs them in. But again, you have a problem with cat cards or with something that you have because somebody can steal that. And that's why we also like to think about or utilize something you know, which would be a password. Now, I'm a big fan also of multi-factor authentication that's starting to take place. We're seeing this almost everywhere, especially online, where not only do you have to type in a password, but then we're going to send a text message to your cell phone that you've registered or to an email address that you've already registered and have you verify with a code that the company has sent to you. And to be honest with you, as of late, because of the number of passwords that are getting cracked, I really think we're going to see a huge change. And again, my personal opinion is we're probably leaning towards biometrics.